it heats up the lakes and streams, which certain fish can't handle the high amounts of temperature, so they will either die or leave, and that'll have a negative effect on the ecosystem. And algae thrives in warm water, and pH levels decrease and the acidity level increases, and acidy water is not good. And then here's different types of thermal pollution areas, like big parking lots that water can't go through, or driveways and roofs, and just other impermeable surfaces that can't do that.
So we came up with the idea of possible solutions to help rid of the stormwater runoff. So we came up with the idea of a living roof, a living wall, and impervious concrete were the best fit for our scenario. So first up, we have a living roof and a living wall. So what it actually is when these big buildings go up, lots of them, they are impervious. So what they came up with is to actually take the land that they would have demolished of the natural or indigenous plants, and they actually make this filtration system, which then they grow the plants, the indigenous plants. Usually it's indigenous, sometimes they do fruits or veggies, just whatever that company wants to do at that point. And what it does is it takes the water, so when it rains into the plants take up the water, and whatever is not used by the plants or taken up by the soil is filtered through this drainage system, and then is put off, so it's much cooler, much cleaner, and it actually helps the building stay cooler, so it's actually cheaper for the building to run costs on air conditioning or heating and things like that. Next up we have pervious concrete, which is another great one. Here you can see it actually draining water, and then we have pervious concrete, which is actually a larger stone concrete. So when they build this, it creates air pockets, which creates the soil, which creates the concrete more porous, which allows much more water to flow through, other than your conventional concrete, which is pretty much a stone, fine stone mixed with sand, so it's very dense and very little porosity. So our best one that we thought of for the scenario would be the pervious concrete, and we can see this is actual percentages that I found online. So this would be not infiltrating the ground, so what actually is running off of this concrete. Normal concrete is around 45 to 85% is actual water running off, and with the pervious concrete, it's 0.2 to 15%. So barely any is running off.
So back to our scenario for the strip mall, we would suggest large amounts of vegetation or a rooftop garden on top of the mall. It's very visually appealing, and you know, most people go to the mall just to hang out and walking through a garden on the rooftop and doing your shopping all at once. That's a lot of fun. The sidewalks or parking lot could be permeable. We would highly suggest the parking lot compared to the sidewalks, because parking lot's a large area, especially for a strip mall, and it would just make it easier for filtration systems.
So I went online and tried to find actual data on companies that may have bought these things, and actually found some companies that display the differences of them. Some of these companies actually went from your normal expensive plumbing and everything to now this new green way of living or green way of building things. So we actually have data collected. So we have a parking lot with catch basins and detention bond, which is your normal parking lot. This is how, you know, big buildings do that, Meyer, things like that. It came out to, with everything that they needed, with the pond excavation, which is, again, that already right there is bad. You're taking away a natural resource. Came out to $22,000, whereas a parking lot with distributed rain gardens, so rooftop gardens or gardens, curb gardens, things like that, little things here and there, came out to only $1960. That's not a big difference of money difference, but it is enough where on a larger scale, for say the scenario with the mall, that's gonna be a huge price difference for these companies. And we also have a traditional drainage parking lot, so this is just the drainage. We have your normal asphalt and pavement, and catch basins and all this other stuff came up to $32,030. Whereas the company changed, then went to pervious concrete with traditional, so it's kind of what we're thinking, keeping the traditional asphalt but getting, doing concrete instead, pervious. With all of this and the additional stone and everything, it only came out to $22,900, which is around $10,000 difference, which that's a huge price difference for your company, which would make it much cheaper for the mall in the long run.